show. It's kind of like a Mandarin Orange, where every segment is just so short and sweet and delicious and Asian.
An Asian?
An Asian.
Because it's a Mandarin Orange.
An Asian. Now, we teased earlier talk about fans interacting with players, but I got tangent off. So, King of the Hill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the show, King of the Hill.
Yeah, I know what the show is.
All right, so how accurate of a portrayal is that of Texas?
Did we have this conversation before, or did I have it with somebody else recently? I feel like we talked about this. Well, no, when I lived in California for 6 years, that was, I didn't realize how realistic that show was until I didn't live in Texas. And it was like, oh, that show is like my daddy and my mom and their neighbors and their friends, and that's how they actually act. And so, yeah, it's actually a fairly realistic portrayal. I don't know anybody who has that friend that you can't understand at all, but otherwise it's pretty realistic.
My favorite scene of King of the Hill was where Hank was like fixing a doorknob with some WD-40, and he couldn't get the top off of his can of WD-40, so he pulled out the hip holster travel size can of WD-40 to open up the larger WD-40 can.
Well, that makes sense, because WD-40 is a necessity in an area where everything gets rusty. Things get rusty. You need WD-40 and squeaky, because the humidity, it's very humid down here.
Rusty and squeaky, and not just the women. All right, so fans, and when they go a little bit too far in ripping on the players, because players are human, and I've seen this up close and personal the last 3-4 years because of Christian Jerome Ponder. And Ponder did get the start last Thursday for the Vikings at Green Bay. Teddy Bridgewater, game time decision, held out because of the ankle. He's fine. But we had to relive it again because Christian Ponder, bless his heart, he is not an NFL quarterback. And fans are brutal in venting their frustration on all forms of social media, message boards, heroes, radio shows. And I think Ponder gets more flack than the average bearer because his wife is high profile as she is. She is not afraid to snap back, as it were. And they are both above average looking people. I really do think that plays into it as well because, not many people hating on Kyle Orton because he looks like a foot.
Sorry.
Christian Ponder, Sam Ponder, and you saw this up close and personal too, like with Matt Schaub, people showing up at his house, death threats, too far, man.
Well, and I just think they have this demeanor that says, their words may say, oh, you can hold me accountable, but then maybe their demeanor says otherwise, and I don't know Ponder well enough to actually make that assumption. But just from what I've seen of him, that's the assumption I make. It feels like Matt Schaub. He would be like, oh, this is on me. And then he would proceed to say, we've got to do. No, you're the dude who just threw 2 pick sixes to turn the game into a rout or whatever just happened. So people started getting mad at him personally, and they would take it on him personally because he was essentially lying to people. That's how you feel. So you take it personal, and then people go overboard, and they think that they know these athletes like we've discussed. You think you know these athletes, some people out there in Radio Land do, and they react as if they know these people, but they don't know these people. These people are strangers. You think you know them, but you don't know their personality. You know what they show you on TV. And people start treating them like they're their friends or something, but no, they're strangers. People are weird.
Let's see, Christian Ponder he's a lot like Leslie Frazier, where he just didn't get the job done, but he just comes off as one of the nicest people that you could ever meet. And I've been a Christian Ponder bashing, but strictly for on the field play. Like, the death threats are way too far, and if people get in trouble with law enforcement because they have keyboard muscles, 100%, they deserve that. Or sexual assault on their wives, children, that's massively too far. Or
they're wishing it, or they're what? What's happening here?
Or whoopingers that are like, I don't even want to audibilize it, but
okay.
So we're on the same wavelength. You know what people are talking about.
People are saying, like, F your wife, only more colorfully than I just said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even children, and Ponder has a newborn baby girl, and that's like so far beyond line I don't even want to talk about. But also like the tried and true get communicable disease of the month person.
Yeah.
And get AIDS, get Ebola. That's so lazy trash talk that it's just so stupid.
Well, it is. And you can only hope that the people that they're talking to take it for what it is, that some idiot can't think of anything clever to say, so they're going to wish some topical disease upon, not tropical, topical disease.
It's kind of tropical.
Kind of. It could be. Ebola, I mean, it came from Africa, right? That's tropically? Is it tropic? It's hot. There's deserts there.
There's deserts in Africa, Claire.
Are there not?
That was sarcasm.
I would have said there are deserts in Africa.
And also the dead
right?
air was golden. The dead air was designed.
But yeah, so I don't know. Topical. We're talking about topical diseases.
All right. Yeah, and I just wanted to bring this segment down because it's something that's not fun to talk about, but something I want to rant about. Just like fans, like a large majority, well, I don't want to say a large majority, but a healthy portion of them are just completely horrible people.
They are.
And there was an article, I think it was the Milwaukee Sentinel. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm completely paraphrasing. But the writer was talking about she was in a bar watching the Vikings-Packers game, and then a Packers fan, when there was a fumble, said that, hey, it's just a big old N-word pile there when the players are going for the ball. And the reporter wrote an article, called out the person in question about it, and then she got some nasty letters saying that,
really?
How dare you call people out for exercising their right to free speech? Isn't this America?
If they are speaking freely, one would think that they would be able to speak in a manner that they're not ashamed for people to know they're speaking in. You would think.
I don't think this is the person in question writing the letter, the person that actually said the N-word.
Well, no, but even so, if someone's going to speak in public, well, they should not be ashamed of what they say in public because we are all adults and we have morals and ethics, right?
Yeah. And I think there are a lot of fans out there like that where they are not, if they're Caucasian, they're not afraid to use the N-word to describe African-American players or other fans even, and it's just terrible. There, not to name names, but there are a number of friends that I've talked to when the Vikings were in the process of drafting Teddy Bridgewater. They're like, it'll never work because black quarterbacks aren't smart enough. And these are people that are still my friends. I may look at them a little bit differently now.
Right.
And they are my age and grew up in a culture where there's a color blindness, but there's a level of equality and understanding.
Right. And you can see that point if they're saying that society may believe that black quarterbacks aren't smart enough. But if they're simply saying that their belief is that black quarterbacks are not smart enough, what the heck is wrong with people?
No, and this isn't like some 60-year-old backwoods Republican conservative asshole saying that black quarterbacks aren't smart enough. This is a Caucasian, suburban-raised, college-educated young person saying that. And
right. I don't know. I think it's because you and I probably both choose to surround yourself with people who are open-minded and not closed-minded and don't assume the worst about everybody.
Speak for yourself there, flower child.
Do you not prefer to be around people who are intelligent?
Yes.
I thought so. Okay, cool. Yep. I don't know. I choose not to be around people like that. So when I hear about stories like this, it shocks me that there are people who are so stupid. It's frustrating. I hate stupid people.
Hey, there you go, everybody. If Claire hangs out with you, you are obviously what she deems to be an intelligent person.
Which everybody knows my judgment is like...
ringing endorsement.
Yes, you should be proud. Brag to your grandparents.
And continuing on the terrible fans motif, there was a clip that went quasi-viral of Poker Pro Grant Hinkle at the Chiefs game. Chiefs Patriots Monday night game.
This.
Getting into it, and yeah, it's kind of weird since I pay attention to like the poker world, so this is the only reason that this came up to me. And so he's getting into a Patriots fan's grill during the whole, Jack White thing, and kind of a vulgar dance, making a beer bottle into a penis and thrusting it towards the Patriots fan.
His face at that.
Hinkle came out with a statement saying that there was two sides to the story, but what we got on camera is what we got on camera. You acting like an idiot, a drunken buffoon to other fans. And this happens every single sporting event, I want to say.
It does. It absolutely does. And I've seen it happen by visitors to people at Texans games. And I've seen it happen by local people to visiting fans. Mm-hmm. So I've seen it from a Green Bay fan at a Texans game last year.
Green Bay fan, I am shocked.
I know. That's what I hear from a lot of people. I don't know many Green Bay fans, so I just chill in my corner. But this was awful. Mm-hmm. This guy was a horrible human being to a girl whose boyfriend was pretty inebriated and disappeared for a little while. I think he went to the bathroom. And he was really ugly to her, to this poor girl. And then I saw Texans fans picking on Titans fans, but, usually Titans fans started. I'm just kidding. But I'm not going to say it was deserved or anything. I'm just saying. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. And then plus video just surfaced. I don't know if you saw about there was a kind of a brutal altercation in San Francisco bathroom, the Niners Chiefs game. It's always the Chiefs.
Always the Chiefs.
Actually, this is all 49er on 49er crime. And there was just you can find the video. It's pretty much everywhere. Just a very short, violent confrontation where some dude gets a head injury. Another guy gets his face beat in pretty good. And it's just like, don't want to stereotype Bay Area, but it seems like a lot of these videos come from here. But this isn't isolated. I mean, there's a reason why undercover cops walk around stadiums. That's not because you're well-behaved at games, idiots.
Well, and the Bay Area thing is interesting because someone else came up with this. Well, all these peace-loving hippies in San Francisco, and for a lot of people in Oakland are peace-loving hippie types. Mm-hmm. It's not those people who are going necessarily to the football games. In California, it's really interesting, actually. The prison system is run in Salinas, which is like an hour and a half south of Oakland and San Francisco. And basically, once you get in there, you're choosing sides. And the sides are represented by the football teams, basically. So once you're out, you're affiliated with the football team. And that has a lot of play into what goes on in parking lots and at games for both the Raiders and the 49ers.
Really?
It really, really does. I'm not even lying.
That is interesting.
Not even lying. Prison culture at the game. Crazy. Yeah. Happens.
Yeah, and even like much lesser issues at games, like you were talking about, getting grief from drunken fans. It's one of the many reasons why I don't like going to games and why I haven't been to one in 4 years.
It does kind of ruin the experience. I got screamed at by a guy last year at the Seattle game, in my face. I was uncomfortable. But, I mean, like I saw this video from 4 years ago, I guess it was, whenever the Texans played the Cowboys in Houston. And it basically ruined tailgating as we know it in Houston from there on. There were fights galore. And every video I've seen on YouTube of it, it's mainly Texans people fighting Texans people. So I don't know what the hope of accomplishment is there. But
well, you know what they say in the South.
What?
Don't mess with Texans.
Well, they say Texas.
Wah, wah.
But we'll take it that way if you want to.
Wah, wah. And, yeah, man, because, these people are spending more money than ever on tickets, on parking, on concessions. Mm-hmm. And just by luck of the draw or happenstance, some idiot on StubHub, buys a seat next to you and then makes it a miserable 4-hour experience for you. And then maybe you just never come back and spend that $500 for a ticket or $1,000 for taking your family out. And the NFL really needs to take a look at this, and all major sports for that matter.
They do, but then it becomes an impediment to the rowdy fan who's just minding their own business because they want everybody to stay in their seat and not disturb your neighbor and yada, yada, yada. And wait, but we're at a football game.